Hey everyone, Bandicoot Commando here, and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Last time, I read Namor. I read Namor's lore. I read Atlantis Attack, where basically Namor believes that he's now in a position to declare war on humanity. But before doing so, he took a portal, a Krakoan portal, to get to Krakoa, in which Krakoa is currently in the future, in the year of 2099, not too far from, not too far from Tokyo. Well, I mean, Krakoa is in the Pacific, but, or at least I think it's in the Pacific. No, it's not too far from Japan, I think. Anyway, he went to Krakoa in order to, because Magneto had invited him. And alongside Magic and Storm, the four of them talk, with Namor basically revealing that I'm going to try and conquer the world, and I'd wish for you to help me. And while obviously Magneto and the others, there's, you know, as much as they, how to say it? I don't want to basically say they refuse. I mean, they kind of refuse, but they basically try to tell Namor how, like, hey, you're not just a human and talent and Atlantean. You're also a mutant. You're one of us. And because of that, you should also try to live by how we on Krakoa operate. As much as humanity has hated us, we have found a way to live in harmony on our island and find coexistence with humanity. Magneto even tells Namor that to not start a genocide because he has seen it before firsthand, obviously, and that there's a chance that if Namor steps out of line, if Namor attempts to do such, the mutants won't help him. But the story ends that Namor's going to set his sights on capturing Jeju Island, and that if he must, he will attack Krakoa, which I don't think is going to end for him. It's not going to end well for him, but who knows? So today, now we're going to read Peni Parker. We're going to read Peni's lore. Peni Parker. Peni Parker may be young, but she bravely stands on the front lines to protect the web of life and destiny. Together, this teen prodigy and her state-of-the-art mech, the sensational Spider, that is how you say it, make for the most thrilling duo on the battlefield. Got a few of her skins. Venom. Addie is no longer. May is no longer. We are one. We are Venom. Blue Tarantula. Oh. Spider's latest aesthetic takes cues from the fabled blue Can I read that? I think it says baboon. Blue baboon tarantula. A secret obsession of Penny's father. This arachnid indigenous to the enigmatic Saktora Island. I don't know if that's how you say it. Radiated a captivating enigmatic blue luminescence across its form before going extinct in the 2070s. This remarkable spider captivated Penny in her youth, leaving an enduring impression that will remain with her always. Oh, it's in Japanese. Penny. After the death of her father, Peni Parker inherited the experimental mech suit known as Spider. In order to control the suit, Penny had to allow herself to be bitten by the irradiated arachnid that controls its CPU. forming a psychic bond between them. Now, Penny and Spider keep the people of Shin Shibuya safe, just like her father did before her. But their mission is bigger than just one city. Since the time stream entanglement, Penny and Spider have devoted themselves to the protection of the web of life and destiny, and the countless realities it connects. Tokyo by night. I sure hope, I'm just going to say this, I sure hope Penny or any sort of Japanese shows up that I have to try and read, because I'm not the best with languages. It sure would be easy to be sad, thought Peni Parker, as she climbed out of the hot springs and got ready for her next patrol. She'd lost her parents, the world had been completely turned upside down because some guy named Doom had scrambled all of time, ruining the web of life and destiny, or whatever. And if that wasn't bad enough, she was in Tokyo and was set to miss every high school event in New York for the next forever. Seriously heavy stuff. At least she would get to skip finals. She also had a lot of time to put her dad's spider mech through its paces and work in his old lab. It wasn't easy letting herself be bitten by a radioactive spider, but Penny would have done it 100 times over to be able to follow in her dad's footsteps. Now she's linked to Spider, fighting bad guys and protecting not just Tokyo, but the entirety of time and space. Plus, there's this chronovium stuff everywhere. What even is that? She knew people were after it, but what did it do exactly? She runs some experiments that suggested it was like crystallized time, but that didn't explain much. Next time Penny took Spider in for maintenance and upgrades, she planned to spend a little more time figuring out what chronovium could do. Life was a lot better when you're focused on the positives. She needed to remind herself that, from time to time, because she spent a lot of her time fighting a whole slew of weirdos from other timelines that probably didn't even know that they were threatening the collapse of all time and space. Or were they? Those details weren't always clear to Penny, but she loved hearing the Master Weaver and his apprentice, Spider Zero, argue about it, and she knew that when push came to shove, as it often had since the time stream entanglement, she and Spider would defend the web, even on mundane patrol missions like the one she was starting just now. That meant defending both the Master Weaver and Spider Zero, who were always so preoccupied with mending and weaving that they pretty much never noticed when they were about to be attacked, like right now. A single Doom bot angled toward the Nexus at the heart of the web of life and destiny. But Master Weaver never noticed it. Penny did, though, and she had a plan. Spider, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Spider was. Penny tensed, and Spider leapt away from the web strand she was sitting on, falling toward the Doombot. She had to time this just right, or it would be a long fall to the ground somewhere in Shinjuku. Spider may be able to handle the fall, but the shock of landing wouldn't do Penny any good. But her timing, as it turned out, was perfect. The Doombot noticed her far too late. Just as she had shot her own webs out from Spider's spinnerets and used a web strand to snap her around in a long arc. The Doombot barely turned around when Spider slammed into it, feet first. Sparks shot from its chassis, and bits of armor plating stuck to nearby stands of the web as the Doombot tumbled away into the neon-speckled darkness below. Penny finished off the maneuver with a perfect thruster-assisted double somersault that landed her on an upper strand of the web, close enough to the Nexus where she could see both the Master Weaver and Spider Zero. They were talking, and Penny didn't want to interrupt, so she hung upside down just because, until Spider Zero headed out onto one of the web strands, making little repairs as she went. Penny noticed Spider Zero removing stuck bits of Doombot armor on her way, and felt a little guilty. But hey, she'd done what a hero had to do, protect the web. Still, did either Doom, I should say, either Doom, ever run out of those things? I suspect not. Oh, I suspect not, a familiar voice said by her side, and Penny jumped. It was the Master Weaver. Hey, Penny said, did you just read my mind? Not exactly. I sensed certain vibrations in the web, and they suggested to me what you were thinking. Right, Penny said. Same diff. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you. I've been doing some experiments in my dad's lab, my lab now, and chronovium. Wow, what is that stuff anyway? Here, it has become part of the web, the Master Weaver replied. But all things are ultimately part of the web. Which was a super Master Weaver-like thing to say, but didn't really bring a lot of clarity to the situation. Before Penny could rephrase the question, the Master Weaver had passed on to another part of the web. She decided to take the same question to Spider Zero. Also, she wanted to know if anybody knew when Doom was going to attack the web itself. That seemed like a near certainty, since there were just about always Doom bots around, but nobody ever wanted to talk about it. Penny didn't know whether that was because they didn't know, or didn't want to tell her because she was a kid, or some other stupid reason, but she felt pretty strongly that Doom attacking the web was a logical next step for him. Either of them, they had to be ready. As she approached Spider Zero, Penny was baffled to see the Weaver's apprentice doing something with paper. At this distance, it was hard to tell. She vaulted over onto another strand, then another, zigzagging until she got close enough to Spider Zero that she could see Spider Zero dropping little pieces of chronovium into some of the portals that existed around the Nexus. The chronovium in the web was kind of sticky, and it looked like Spider Zero was, she was writing something on pieces of paper, and then sticking those pieces of paper to chronovium. Hey, Penny called when she was close enough. What are you writing? A message to another version of myself, Spider Zero said. How do you know where to find other versions of yourself? That's part of what the Master Weaver is teaching me, Spider Zero said. I can listen in on an infinite number of other worlds and futures. Sometimes I can even, she made a conducting motion with both hands, influence them a little. So you could do something about Doom? Or the time stream entanglement? Penny's thoughts drifted to maybe even saving her father, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Was it even possible? And if he came back, would Penny just be a regular person again? It would be worth it. Spider Zero was watching her, as if she could see the emotional tug-of-war going on inside Penny's mind. Well, possibly, but that is, if you'll forgive the expression, a very tangled web. Tugging on one strand will have all kinds of unpredictable effects. I wouldn't take any action until I've had more time to trace the path of each strand. How much time? Don't know. More than we've got with so much happening. Okay, so anyway, there are more Doombots climbing the web to get you and the Master Weaver. Penny had just spotted them, jetting upward from the ground. Spider Zero looked down. Uh-huh, she said. She scribbled something on a piece of paper and stuck it to a bit of chronovium. Then she pushed that through a tiny portal that opened briefly, like a soap bubble by her hand. The minute she pushed the message through, the portal was gone. A split second after that, all three Doombots were gone too, swallowed up by a large version of that portal that had appeared around them, and then blinked out of existence. Whoa, Penny said. That's definitely cooler than what I did. Oh, it's not a competition, Zero said. We all protect the web in our own ways. Speaking of, Penny said, you guys know that sooner or later Doom is going to get sick of sending Doom bots, and when he does, he'll show up to finish the job himself? Wouldn't surprise me, Zero said. So, should we, maybe be doing something about it? What makes you think you are? Penny groaned. You sound more and more like the Weaver every day. Zero smiled. He's teaching me a lot. You too, I think. You've grown a lot since you started protecting the web. This had Penny feeling pretty good about herself until she looked up and saw Spider Zero right there next to her. I have to repair that, Zero said, pointing at the dangling strands of the web Penny had accidentally snapped while fighting the Doom bot. I had to, Penny protested. I know, Zero said. I'm not angry. I just have to repair the web. That's what I do. That's who I am. And without the web, it was Penny's turn to say, I know. After the time stream entanglement, the web was more important than ever. It wasn't just the Dooms that they had to worry about, but any other dimensional hopping villain or creature might appear at any moment to destroy the web or the Weaver, or they might try to destroy Tokyo or Japan or the world or all worlds. But none of that was going to happen while Peni Parker was on patrol. That should be a banner, she thought. Peni Parker on patrol. How cool would it be to have her own banner that followed her around? And maybe her own sound effects. A synthesized soundtrack. Even better, she started composing the tune in her head as Spider leapt and climbed among the endless strands of the web. Soon enough, she had Spider Zero back where she belonged. She looked down on the city, then up at the vastness of the web and the universes beyond it. I wish my father could have seen this. My father is also dead, Zero said, pausing for a moment in her work. But I think he would have been proud of the work I do. Same for you. Well, that gave Penny a little twinkle in her heart. This hero business wasn't just about the fights. It could make you feel good sometimes, too. Oh, it was a nice little story to go into insight with Penny and her thoughts. It's also interesting how, at least in this lore story, Zero and the Weaver are mostly getting along just fine. Because when you do the maps of Spider Islands and Shin Shibuya, the Master Weaver is not pleased with Zero and what she has done. Which is why, when you're doing the escorts, if you can successfully escort Zero, she can either get to the islands or repair the Web of Life and Destiny. But if you're on the defending side, the Master Weaver is able to successfully I gotta scratch badly, stop Zero in both of her efforts. There we go. And also, I've seen, Into the Spider-Verse. I still have not seen its sequel yet. I know, sue me. But Penny was one of those reasons because of, ever since she made her debut in that movie, they've always, they always try to emulate that version. And this version of Penny is kind of similar, but older. Wonder if they'll ever go back to how she was in the original comics. But that's just me. Anyway, that will do for this episode of Marvel Rivals. Join me next time as we read Psylocke's lore story. And that is it, and I will see you guys next time.